There's one thing from professional wrestling that's got me marking out this Monday morning, and that is the fact that there is finally, after over 100 plus years, finally a British world champion of a major wrestling company. Now, some of you might say, well, TNA, does that really classify as a major wrestling company? Look, you can shit on the company all you want, and they deserve a lot of it. But the fact of the matter is they do have national cable television, and they are the #2 wrestling promotion in the United States of America. And just as importantly, they have a nice contingent of fans in the UK. They really do, especially because of the fact they're on free TV over there as opposed to WWE being, I believe, on pay TV over there. So TNA has a quite sizable following in England and in the UK as a whole. So after all of these years of professional wrestling, through the Billy Robinsons and the William Regals and the so on and so forth, the Dynamite Kids, you finally got a British world champion of a major wrestling company with Magnus there in TNA. That, to me, is something that's worth marking out to. You've got somebody different in the main event scene. You've got somebody who's a bit of a fresh face in the main event scene. You've got somebody from TNA's standpoint that has more of the traditional WWE type of main event look out of your world champion. And again, when you're talking about a company like TNA, who is struggling domestically and whose ratings have kind of leveled off and lowered quite a bit, and it might take a while to rebuild those back up. One of the ways you keep yourself in business and help yourself do well in business is trying to go out there and grow your audience wherever you can. And in this case, now you've got some international flavor at the top. Whereas the WWE is trotting out the same usual cast of characters, let's say a John Cena and a Randy Orton in your main event scene. You throw in like a CM Punk and a Daniel Bryan, but they're still all white Americans. They're all the same type of freaking guys. The ADR, I'm talking about right now. The fact of the matter is that TNA's got a British world champion, where WWE has so epically failed with Wade Barrett in 3.5 years to the point where he's no better off than he was the day he debuted as the leader of the Nexus. In fact, he's probably worse off. Everybody would argue that. TNA's got a British world champion. And I think a guy that it was long overdue for this push. He was long overdue for this spot. This is, to me, one of those things that exemplifies just how little of a clue Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff had about today's wrestling business, because they clearly seem to not want to push this guy for whatever the hell damn reason. But TNA has finally rectified so many of their mistakes of the past by going with somebody fresh. Instead of having him lose to Jeff Hardy, or instead of having him lose to Kurt Angle, he beat these people. It actually leaves you some hope for this company in 2014 for some damn reason. But I know a lot of English and British fans have to be incredibly excited about the fact, even if they're not TNA fans, even if they're not huge Magnus fans, the fact that after over 100 years of professional wrestling, they finally have somebody that they can root for. They finally have one of their own. They have one of their guys as the top dog. That's like for me and all my other fellow black Americans. We want to see a black world champion in the WWE, meaning a black WWE champion and now a black WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Give us somebody to cheer for. The Brits have got it. And I'm happy for him, and I'm happy for Magnus. It's about damn time this company did something right, and I feel like they finally did here. You got a new, fresh face in your title scene as your champion, and he appeals to a different demographic. He appeals to your fans on an international level that ultimately, in some way, shape, or form, has to be good for business.